What's good, people? Welcome to U3 Sports Talk. Happy Wednesday. Today is NBA Wednesday, so we're talking hoops, and more hoops. Of course, welcome in to Cisco, J Mac, and Devon. What's going on, fellas?
Doing pretty good, man.
Hey man, hold on, man. Hold on. If y'all didn't see that video yesterday about the Lakers, Cisco gave one of the craziest Laker top five starting five I ever seen. Yeah, I don't know if it's the coffee, maybe Starbucks up there is, putting a little something in they drink because it's so cold up there. But down there, well, nah, you ain't up there. You down there. You in Texas. They might be putting ice cubes.
I didn't hear that. I need to hear that top five.
Oh my God. Didn't you have like Smush Parker as the MVP
Hold on. I know that you didn't have Smush Parker in your Laker top five.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, I think he had the Laker Smush Parker. I think he had who did he have at center? He's muting himself on purpose, by the way.
I can tell.
Kwame Brown.
Wow. So what's the favorite word we like to use? We like to use the word context, right? The context of that situation was, hey, I'm a Warriors fan. So why the hell would I want to see an all-time Lakers list? No, I want to see the all-time worst Lakers list, and I would love to power drive those guys all the way to the ground. So that's the context.
So you saying I missed the word worst?
You missed the word Warriors. Oh, come on. From a Warriors perspective, that's the greatest starting five I can ever think of for the Lakers.
I'll probably still lose.
What? See? See? There we go.
Nah, everything good, man. Y'all ready to get it in?
Let's get it in. We got 12 games tonight. We're not going to talk about the games just yet. Some good matchups tonight, but we won't get into the games yet. But if you are watching us, thank you for joining us. And I just want to remind you, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. So whenever U3 Sports Talk goes live, you'll be the first to know. Also, when we drop videos, you'll be the first to know. So we got to get into it. We got to talk about some of these NBA surprises of the season. So, J-Mac, I got to come to you first on this one, man. Who are your surprise teams of the season so far?
Well, number one, Westbrook and Bradley Beal not working together. That team is 3-10, one of the worst teams in the league, and they have some talented players on their team. I thought they would, given those guys' history is how hard they play. I thought they would, give a little more fight. They don't have any fight in them. Bradley Beal looks like he's trying to get out of there. Russell Westbrook is stuck, and Scott Brooks is like, dang, I can't get rid of him. He just want to follow me wherever I go. I like one of the things I like about the league this year is the teams that played well in the bubble, that weren't picked to like win a championship, are playing good basketball. I think other teams that are usually in the bottom, the bottom feed of the NBA are playing some really good basketball. Charlotte's playing pretty good, even though I would like to see LaMelo get a bigger role, but I understand they have Rozier
and Graham.
Yeah, and Graham. So that situation is, we'll see what happens. I don't think that team is going to stay the way it is. I like the Atlanta Hawks. One of the biggest surprises, of course, teams like Cleveland. Some really good defense this year, really inspired basketball. They already got 8 wins. New York Knicks is playing inspired basketball. Tom Thibodeau, to me, he got a team that everybody usually picks as, consistently one of the worst teams in the league. He got them, fighting to make a push for the playoffs, if not that play-in game. So,
can you leave some meat on the bone for the rest of us though? Because you listed all the teams. Can you leave a little meat on the bone for us?
Stop taking all the credit.
I tell you, y'all must be vegan or something. There's plenty of meat on this bone.
No, I'm just saying. you listed 8 teams. It's only 30 teams in the league. You listed like 8 teams already. So just a little.
Hey man, you gotta give props to the teams that don't usually get no props. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
teams usually don't get no So I just want to spread a little love to the teams that don't never get no airplay. You know what I mean?
No, it's all good. No, all good. Devon, man, who's your surprise team thus far, or your surprise of the season thus far?
I mean, I can't even say any team is really a surprise to me, really. But my most disappointment is the Nets right now, to be honest. I feel like Kyrie definitely disappointed me of his behaviors so far this season, and everything that transpired with him being out and all that type of stuff and how he's been handling himself. I definitely think for the way that he likes to appear to himself or appear to everyone coming off how he's so, intelligent and stuff like that, he's made some real dumb decisions in behavior wise. But as a team, I don't think, to me personally, the environment that they had in Brooklyn prior to getting James Harden, I think was already good. I'm not going to say James Harden is going to bring the stock down, but you got rid of some veteran players on that team that's been there longer than the 2 stars that just got there themselves, who helped kind of rebuild the Nets back up into a playoff contending team. You know what I mean? And then you bring in, yes, I get it. He's a great superstar. He's a great scorer. He can facilitate, but you're losing out on defensive ability. You're talking about the ball being shared between 3 ball dominant individuals. Now, with a person like KD, yeah, he can work with any type of stars and still get his thing off. But a James Harden, he can't really mesh that great with another superstar like that because he has to be the focal point. Kyrie, we already know, he wanted to kind of get away from that. So it did kind of surprise me when he wanted to go to Brooklyn and team up with Kevin Durant when, you were playing with Bron and you wanted to leave that atmosphere because you didn't want to be second string to nobody. But, people going to look at you, to be honest, as like a third wheel to these 2 dudes, So even as great as you are, to me, both of those dudes are better facilitators than you are. They're both definitely a little more dynamic on the scoring end than you are. I'll say, of course, out the 3, KD is the better defender, of course, But I don't know. I think on paper, they look amazing. Like, they should be number 1 team in the East, outside of maybe Milwaukee or Boston. But on paper they look like their team looks great, but they haven't been holding up to that. Toronto's another team. They didn't really lose a whole lot of pieces. They still had the same team, but their performance hasn't really been up to par, even, for second season away from winning the championship, outside of losing Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green. Like, you still have basically the same team. There's no reason why you guys should be slacking. But I would say Philly is another team that, there was so much expectation for them for this year that I can't necessarily say they're really living up to. But I will say the Cavs and the Knicks have surprised me. Like, the Knicks defensively are definitely way better than they were last year, starting off so far. They're stepping into their offensive rhythm. Who is it? Julius Randle is actually accepting that I'm the guy on the team role, which he should have kind of had last year, but I don't think mentally he was prepared for that. But it seems like this season he's really stepping into that. He's really stretching his game out because he got a way better jump shot now than he did last year. He can shoot the three a lot more consistent now. I just think when you have if you get another player like RJ Barrett to get more consistent and more confidence in his game, offensively, and what's the other kid name? Kevin Knox. If they could be more consistent offensively and defensively, like the Knicks could be a scary team. They may not be a top 1 through 3 or 4 in the East, but 5 through 8 possibly. But it all depends on how they play. The Cavs are another team, especially like I mentioned last time, Colin Sexton, really stepped his game up. And with the few additions that they have, it's still early. So we'll see how it play out. Because some people, they start to rise early and then they get mid-season and start deflating. So,
yeah, I'm kind of surprised by your Philly take because, they're leading the Eastern Conference right now. And they're have only lost one game at home so far this season. And I know they had, kind of had a COVID issue. So they had some guys, out, Steph Curry missed some games and for contract chasing, they had some other guys miss some games. So I was kind of surprised by your Philly take. Were you, do you think Philly has really not lived up to the billing yet this season?
I mean, they're number one right now. And I mean, I kind of look at it like Milwaukee the last year, right? Milwaukee was number one as well, but they really struggled a lot. Even though they're winning games, like I'll give them that credit. Like they're winning games, but like how consistent is Philly going to be? Because to me, still, the issue I have with Philly is their health issues for their star players. Like we haven't seen neither one of these guys really be healthy for a great portion of the season like that. Which it affects the team because those two guys are the cornerstones. Right. So without you guys, you have dudes who'll step in like Shake Milton, Tobias Harris, what is the other kid, Thibault. You have guys that'll come in and they'll play hard, but and it gives them an opportunity, but you rely on your stars.
It's interesting because you mentioned their stars, and I think Embiid actually the last few games has really put himself into the MVP conversation with the way he's playing. Cisco, I want to come to you next. Kind of on your surprises, thus far this season. Any teams or any players kind of surprised you thus far this season?
As far as teams concerned, I'm really surprised about at the Spurs right now. They're doing pretty good. The 9-8. Just waiting to see what they're doing. The Jazz is balling out of control right now. I know you mentioned that earlier, Sean, but they are second place in the West. 9-1 the last 10 games. I'm really surprised. For me, it was they came out of nowhere for me. Biggest disappointment though is it has to be the Mavericks, right? They didn't really lose too much. I understand they lost Steph Curry or whatever, but at the same time, they got back Kristaps Porzingis,
Josh Richardson, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought, I really thought that team would come out with a stronger push, and your boy, not Joker, but the other, and then Denver. I know they lost a lot of their role players too. Joker's still balling out control, but still that core group is still there. And we always say as long as you have that core group stabilizing you no matter what, you can kind of carry it through. So those two are the biggest disappointment. And I'm kind of shocked at the Kings. The Kings should be a lot better than what they are as far as first round talent on the floor. They're young. They should be hungry. It's open in the West. I mean, come on. When are the Kings going to kick it into gear? So those are my biggest surprises as of right now. Eastern Conference, I think it's kind of falling where it's at. If there's one player that I am truly disappointed in as of right now, is your boy Giannis. and the reason why I'll say this real quick, he admires Kobe Bryant to the fullest. He worked out with Kobe Bryant. He should be able to see and look at all the details that Kobe Bryant has published through ESPN and say, okay, look, and and either walk that down and be able to improve his post game, his mid-range jumper, everything else. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes along.
Yeah, so it's interesting you brought up Giannis because I think Giannis, obviously, if you look at Milwaukee, I think the expectations when they got Drew Holiday were that they were going to be ready to take that next step. But they did give up a lot to get Drew Holiday, and they gave up a lot of their bench pieces, as well. So they've kind of had to fill out their roster a little differently. But do y'all think, and again, I'm putting it out to you all, do y'all think Giannis is going to take the next step in his evolution, particularly on the offensive end? Do y'all see him taking the next step?
I'll say he's trying so far this season. I have seen him attempt more three-pointers at the beginning of this season than he has probably the last 2 years, probably total in the beginning to this point. I can see his confidence is coming there because I've seen him just come down and pull shots and make them like he already knew in that rhythm. But like Cisco said, when you get nuggets and anecdotes from one of the greatest players like that, you have to take that, embody that, and use that. Because you're a two-time MVP, and you can't always bully your way every time to the basket. You got to be more dimensional than that. So I agree with Cisco said, like, he needs to be more consistent from the perimeter shooting. He needs to you don't even have to be a knockdown 3-point shooter, but you have to be better than what you are at shooting threes. You have to be a more consistent free throw shooter. You can't rely on just, I'm going to just take you to the rack with my length and dunk on you every time. We've seen what happened when you get against teams who defensive schemes are meant to shut you down, like the Heat did last year in the bubble. We're going to shut you down and make everybody else play. So he needs, if he gets a better, more consistent perimeter game and a better look shot from 3-point line, it'll just open up the game more for him. And I will say this, I know this is not in the same realm, but I think that's what kind of made Bron a little more, even more of a threat offensively, is because he can take you to the rack. But now at the same time, you have to respect his shot on the outside because his shot has improved over the years. So you have to respect him as a 3-point shooter. You always kind of have to respect him in the post because he can back you down. But as far as fadeaway jump shots or just pull up jump shots, before there was a time where you didn't have to respect that, but you have to respect that now. That's the level where Giannis should have been by now with the years that he spent working out with Kobe. He should be a lot better in those areas than what he is right now.
So, J-Mac, I want to come to you, but I want to kind of throw a caveat out there because I want you to respond to the Giannis question. But also, is Bud the right coach head coach that will help Giannis take his game to the next level? So, question to you.
I don't have a problem with Coach Bud. I think it's more Giannis than anything. Here's my thing about Giannis. Yeah, after seeing him this year and seeing his development, he has gotten better. But as physically gifted as he is, in some areas of physicality or athleticism, he is not gifted at. His lateral movement is not there. He does not have, he knows, look, Giannis is not a dumb player. He knows the wall is coming, right? So when he's going downhill, he doesn't have, in my opinion, or hasn't worked on enough, he doesn't have that, I know it's coming, I need to stop before I get to it. He needs to judge that. He needs to learn how to judge that. He needs to learn pace of the game a little bit better. I always said, and I've been saying it all year and last year, Giannis needs some 15 feet inside moves. He needs some floaters. He needs some little jump hooks. He needs the things. And when you brought up LeBron, that's what LeBron did from leaving Cleveland and went to Miami. He didn't just go and play with great players. He took value with him when he went to Miami. He took his game and he worked in the offseason and said, look, I know people want me to shoot the ball, but I got to start developing this little runner, this little hook, these little moves that won't get me these charges. Because Giannis the game is not slowing down to him enough to be able to judge whether he should go all the way or whether he should stop and pull something short.
So,
He's a better little touch on the ball.
Let me
go ahead, sister.
let me caveat to what J Max said, and just kind of tail off of what Devon said as well. Javon, excuse me. I think this is what puts LeBron in another stratosphere, right? Because he hasn't had that dynamic head coach at the collegiate and or the professional level. Some could say he made sports. Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Let me finish my point. Then y'all can. Okay, but he's not on the same level as
I mean, if last year didn't prove Spoelstra was an elite coach, I don't know what does.
Yeah, but
I was gonna say Eric Spoelstra did a great job bandaging those guys,
Right.
He didn't develop
in the way
LeBron.
that he did.
Well, is he on the same level as Phil Jackson and or Dean Smith?
Well, I mean, you're talking about.
I mean, come on, hold on. You can't do that. You can't do that. First off,
let me finish my point. Let me finish my point first. Right?
Okay.
What I'm saying with LeBron James is quite easy. One, this is what puts him above, in my eyes, head shoulder above the NBA, above the other greats. Kobe had Phil Jackson. Jordan had Phil Jackson and Dean Smith. Giannis hasn't had a great coach either. But the difference between him and LeBron is that LeBron's between the ears is far greater than anybody else because he hadn't had any of that. He came straight out of Podunk High School in Ohio to full-fledged NBA, who initially relied on his talents, but you could see the game slowed down for him. His ability to understand the game was happened at a very early age, at a savant level. That's what I'm saying. That's my point. So you see what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying though is great. If you look at all the all-time great players, they generally always play for all-time great coaches. I don't think Bud is a bad coach, but I'm not sure Bud is a great coach. I think Bud is closer to Doug Collins than he is Phil Jackson.
Right.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know if Giannis will get to that next level playing under Bud, particularly in the playoffs, because Bud is a great regular season coach. It's playoffs where he just doesn't seem to make the necessary adjustments. And again, I'm going back 2 years to when they played Toronto in the playoffs, and Toronto built the wall, and he did nothing to free Giannis up offensively. It was basically figure it out. And it's like, no, you're the coach. You can put him in positions where he's not being forced to try to dribble his way to the basket. You can run some cross action for him. So again, he's off the ball, he's flashing, he's diving, he's doing different things to get the ball where, again, all he's got to do is catch and make a move. Where I think Giannis has to improve is Giannis is a pattern player. Giannis does not have counters. Giannis is a guy, when he's such a pattern player, when he makes a decision to go one way because of his athleticism and his length, he can generally get that way. But when teams can cut it off, he does not have counters. And that's where I think he's got to take his game to the next level. I'm not sure he needs to necessarily be a three-point shooter. I think he needs to be confident, but he's not a guy I want taking 8 or 9 threes a game. I think he's got to develop at least a consistent 15 to 18-foot jumper. But, of course, in today's NBA, that's considered a wasted shot because of analytics. So that's the other side of it is I think analytics is taking the game away from guys like Giannis, who, again, will never be an all-time three-point shooter, but he is a guy, I think, that can get to the basket and can develop at least enough of a mid-range that, he can keep defenses honest.
I give you
Yeah.
system wise about Bud in the playoffs.
Right.
Because he doesn't change it up. He doesn't adjust. He's one of those coaches that stick to what he wants to run.
Right.
And are not good. And I think it's because he wants too much control of the players. See, Giannis, for me, I'm gonna say this real quick. Giannis gets those charges usually going end to end. I don't think Bud is going to pull Giannis to the side and say, give the ball up in transition and just run the floor, and you can get the ball running the floor in a better position to score other than getting a charge every time you take it from end to end. So you're right in that facet. You got to sit them down and say, look, I don't have to tell you the results because you're actually going through it. You're doing it. I don't have to run. If I run this film back, you're going to be pissed off with yourself because you keep running down there and they're building a wall and you keep getting a charge.
Right.
That side jumping works half the time. It doesn't work like it used to.
Right. And again, go ahead, Devon.
So, Cisco, I will agree with you on the fact that, some great coaches can inspire players, but I will disagree in the fact that Phil and Dean and great coaches like that, they don't necessarily make the players great, but they do design certain schemes that will fit best to their skill set so that they can operate with more efficiency.
Right.
But in order for a player to reach that pinnacle level of greatness, it's what you do outside when there's nothing else going on, when there is no season going on and stuff like that. So the work that Kobe and Bron and Mike and those guys put in during their offseason and how they attack and approach their practice sessions is ultimately what made them a great player. Now, yes, Bron might not have had a Phil Jackson or Dean Smith, or somebody, Red Auerbach or somebody like that to, design schemes for him that is going to ultimately put less stress on him to make everybody else work at the same, and he can still do what he do. Yeah, so I will give him that credit. He definitely brought himself up from that. But Eric Spoelstra, to me, is a good coach. Yeah, I won't say he's a great coach yet because he still has time, So I wouldn't put him on the same level as a Phil Jackson, But you talk about a coach like even like a Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is a good coach. I could put Eric Spoelstra in the same category as a Doc Rivers because Doc Rivers dealt kind of with the same situation in Boston with his three guys. And then, going to LA, he had great teams in LA, so I put Eric Spoelstra in that category. Like, he has the potential to be a great coach as long as he continues to have the same environment and atmosphere that he's providing Miami now, which they're still doing pretty good. He could kind of get up there. So
I'm not saying those guys are not great coaches, and I'm not taking away from the individual player too. But somehow, like who was a coach from Detroit that coached the Dream Team?
Chuck Daly.
Chuck Daly. Yeah.
So those really great coaches too. That next level, they can take those players and get them to, like Steve Kerr, can get them to set aside their egos, right? And or so they can work better together, and or they can find that little thing within that player to go ahead and spark him to be able to take to make him want to take that level next step. That's what I'm saying about that too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Jackson was a master at that. He would be able. He'll put situations out, like you say. He'll scheme situations or develop situations to kind of force that tension to be able to get those guys to set the next level and set their game up. That's true. I think if Giannis goes to the Heat, I think Spoelstra is able to do that. If he goes to with Doc Rivers, he's able to do that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
you're probably right. You're right.
Yeah, and again, I mean, if you were ranking head coaches in the NBA right now, just your top 5 head coaches in the NBA. I don't want to do top 5 yet. You'd probably put Spoelstra somewhere in your top 5 if you just look at the current coaches in today's NBA. In all honesty, so he's not a terrible coach by any stretch. Again, I think he had to learn how to get that big three, to get the best out of that big three in Miami, and it took a year for him to do it. But even going back to last year, what he did last year with the Heat team, again, that really nobody was picking to go anywhere.
Nope.
No, I mean,
Totally agree.
It was Boston and Milwaukee all year long with the talks.
Exactly. So and Philly, outside looking in. So I do think that what Spoelstra did does matter in the grand scheme of how we rank him among the elite coaches.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Because to succeed in that bubble, you have to get your troops to buy into the mental aspect of it. And he had his team.
That's right.
His team was very mentally tough.
Right.
And teams that we anticipated and that were more talented and have better players, more experienced players, they fell by the wayside mentally.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's true.
That's
so true.
For surprise players, anybody talk? I know he mentioned Colin Sexton, but this guy named Kyle Anderson, he ain't doing too bad either. He's looking real good from the Memphis Grizzlies. Did he come from San Antonio?
Yeah.
He's stepping up big time.
Yeah, Memphis is really kind of a surprise team.
And Thomas Bryant from the Wizards.
Yeah, I think Memphis is really kind of a surprise team. I knew everybody knew about Ja Morant.
Yeah.
They had some other, guys like Kyle Anderson, like Dylan Brooks, keeping Valanciunas, who they got from the Raptors in the Gasol trade, was a big move. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but they'll definitely be one of those teams probably fighting that playing game late in the season just because of how they play. And then for me, what I want to see from Memphis is, when Jaren Jackson, can he take that next step? Can he take that leap in terms of being that true, Robin to Ja Morant's Batman? Because I think that's Ja Morant's team. I don't think anybody will dispute that. But Jaren Jackson, is he going to take that? Jaren Jackson Jr., is he going to take that next step, to become that Robin?
That's true.
Robin.
That's true.
It'll help him money-wise if he can be.
Oh, yeah.
It will definitely help them cap-wise. They'll be able to improve their team, but it's Utah, man.
Listen.
It's Utah.
I mean, I don't want to say I told y'all so.
It's Utah, man. Their ass ain't going nowhere, man. It's just
I kept trying to tell people about Utah, and nobody was listening because it's Utah.
Yeah.
But I kept trying to tell them. I said, listen, that team is coming. And when they got Bogdanovich back to be that kind of second consistent scorer next to Mitchell, and even Mitchell had a terrible game last night. He was like 3-15 for 9 points, and they still blew out him. So that team is really.
I want to see him in the playoffs, but I definitely don't want to see him in the finals.
I would, if I was the Lakers, that'd be the one team in the West I wouldn't want to see because of their size and because they got that closer, number 45. Because 45 has shown he could take over a game in the fourth.
Sure.
They can't beat LA, bro.
Yeah, no, listen, don't put it past them. Where's their weakness?
They can't beat LA.
Where's their weakness?
LA?
No, I'm saying on their team. Where's their weakness?
LA.
No. LA ain't on their team. Do better. Where's their weakness?
I only watched them a couple of times. So they're playing good team ball, but I just don't believe when it gets tight, when it gets really tight, they're going to be able to play good enough defense to shut down the other teams late in the playoffs. I mean, I give them second round, but I think they're going home after the second round. That's just my opinion. Ja Morant he does turn the ball over sometimes. He gets a little loose with it.
You talking about Donovan Mitchell?
Mitchell. I'm sorry, Mitchell. But here's the deal. I ain't gonna say nothing bad about Mitchell because he is a baller, man. And you talking about improvement from year to year.
Mhm.
He is one of those players that's showing he's here for the long run. I see multiple All-Stars. He's gonna be a problem, man. No doubt.
Let me ask y'all a question. This for everybody. What's the difference between Donovan Mitchell early in his career and D Wade early in his career?
He wasn't a point. D Wade wasn't a point.
D Wade played the point his rookie year.
Yeah.
Donovan. Well, technically, Donovan Mitchell wasn't the point either.
He plays it too because they got Mike Conley.
Yeah, and they had Dante Exum, who was the point guard.
Yeah, and they had Rubio.
They had Ricky Rubio. He was the point guard. To me, I say D Wade was more able to take over games better than Donovan Mitchell was, and I think D Wade played with a little more intensity than Donovan Mitchell did early in his career. But yeah, because D Wade was him coming a 3-year play at Marquette coming in, and truthfully, all the hype was really about Braun and Melo coming into their draft class. You didn't really have that much talk about D Wade or Chris Bosh or some of those other players like that. It was really more geared towards LeBron, of course, number one, and then Melo, the number 3 pick. You know what I mean? So it was really more against them. So for D Wade, he kind of played with like a chip on his shoulder to let everybody know, like, yo, I'm just as good as these guys, and I'm going to show you how good I am. And if you look at the numbers of their rookie year, like his numbers was almost exactly the same just about with Braun, except for maybe assist-wise. But rebounds, steals, blocks, points, he was right up there with those guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would say for me, D Wade, early in his career, he played with more intensity on his game on the offensive and defensive end more consistently than I think Donovan Mitchell did.
Cisco?
I have no comment on that.
Okay. J Mac?
No, I agree. For me though, like I said, Utah, they've showed a lot of success in the regular seasons. They're usually around, anywhere between 3 and 6 in the standings every year. But again, I just don't think defensively they're going to be able to handle some of the better teams. And their success is predicated on playing one way. They don't really switch it up. They do have size, but they just don't. To me, they're going to be too predictable, in my opinion.
I'm going to slightly disagree, only because they are a team that even when Gobert comes out, they take a hit defensively, but their offense is actually a little more fluid when Gobert comes out, and they go to say Favors in the middle because Favors can step away and hit the 15 to 18 footer. But I think they're one of those teams in the fourth quarter, if the game is close and the game within striking distance, I'm not sure there's a single guy on the Lakers who can stay in front of Donovan, who can stop Donovan Mitchell in the fourth quarter.
You don't have to. You don't have to stay in front of him.
No, but I'm saying stop him because again, I compared him to D Wade early in his career. The one thing he has over D Wade early in his career is he can actually shoot the ball, and when he gets hot, I mean, he is. I think y'all, you might just be giving him you might be shacking him a little bit. Shaq tried him the other night. I think you might be shacking him a little bit. Just a little.
I'm not shacking him. D Wade was how long did John Morant spend in college? He spent 1 year?
year.
just 1 year.
1 year.
No, John Moran only spent 1 year.
1 year,
He
right?
spent 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
D-Wade spent
Mitchell
3.
Mitchell spent 2 years in college.
So,
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell spent 2 years at Louisville.
okay, 2 years.
Mhm.
To me, it feels like D-Wade was a more seasoned player, a more smarter basketball player. He had more in his bag than Donovan Mitchell does right now. He didn't shoot the ball like you said. Donovan Mitchell could shoot better from deep. But if Donovan Mitchell didn't have that deep ball, I think he would be slightly more limited than D-Wade. D-Wade can score more ways than Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion. I mean, we're talking about D-Wade. If we're going to compare him to D-Wade, we're comparing
I'm talking about early D-Wade.
shoot. Yeah, even early D-Wade. Early D-Wade was a fearless guy, just like Donovan Mitchell. They both were fearless. I just think that, well, D-Wade did have Shaq. So that helps.
I mean, in the second year, yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm not here to tear him down because I mess with Donovan Mitchell. He's one of my favorite players.
Right.
No doubt about it. And then what he did in the bubble last year in that series against Denver was outstanding. So
Right.
he came up just a tad bit short out of gas, but he left it on the floor. See, I respect that. He left it on the floor.
Right. And again, remember they were missing 20 points out of their lineup because they didn't have Bojan Bogdanovic.
Right.
So they got him back this year. And again, I thought that was the big difference was they get to balance their offense more where Mitchell doesn't have to take over or do so much early in the game. If he could keep just keep the game competitive and close, they know in the fourth quarter he's got it. Like he's shown that, consistently, which he showed the playoffs, really the last 2 years if you think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true.
I think they're a team, if they're healthy, and again, the key for them this year, obviously they didn't have it last year, is if they're going into playoffs healthy. If I were the Lakers, that's probably the one team in the West I don't want to see if they're healthy. I just think they got it, and they actually have a pretty good bench as well. So, I would not, and also Quinn Snyder, who we're gonna talk about this in a moment. He's actually my coach of the year because I think he's been underrated the last couple of years with what he's done with that team. All right, let's move on. The disappointments. I know some of y'all mentioned Brooklyn. Devon, I got to come to you on this because how far were you expecting Brooklyn to go with the addition of Harden?
So you said with the addition of Harden?
Yeah, how far are you expecting them to go?
To be honest, like I could see them making the playoffs for sure.
Right, of course.
But
they better make the
playoffs. Even with that team, though, I mean, I don't like to really count guys out like that because anything can happen in the playoffs. Period. I've seen over my years of watching teams that I would expect to just take over, just get dogged the hell out and stuff like that. But what I will say is I do kind of expect them to go at least second round.
Right.
And maybe match up against if they match up against a team like a Boston or Miami when they're on, they could probably get put out. I know some analysts right now is like, with this addition, they should definitely be contending as Eastern Conference champions and going to the championship. But I don't know. I still think in those playoff settings, each of those individual stars are different players than they are during the season.
Right.
So that's the true test of how well you guys are going to play together and what you're willing to sacrifice to be to that next level that you're trying to accomplish. And, that's why everything worked out for Durant going to Golden State because those guys just really wanted to play ball. They didn't really care how they were going to get theirs. And they let KD be KD because they knew in the end, we're still going to be able to do us. With these two guys, it's more forceful than it is natural. When you let it come to you naturally with other stars, you won't have issues. You won't really take no losses like that. There
Right.
won't be no momentum's lost. But
Right.
when you got players that want to force it, that's what takes away from the whole team as a whole. And so I think for Brooklyn, that probably will be their biggest downfall when it comes time for those crunch times once playoffs hit.
Right.
But I see them going at least second round.
Right. Cisco.
For me, it's like I said, it's way too early to decide to see how these teams mesh up. We're talking disappointment. Is that correct? If I heard that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, NBA this one.
Yeah. So just for me, it's really those bubble teams that really that have the continuity, that have the core players. This teams like to me that those bottom 7, 8, 9 to 10 teams that were just right there on the cusp, like the Knicks are doing. Right. I just thought there would be a little bit more of that. Referencing to the not Raptors, but excuse me, the Hawks, I know the Nuggets, and even the
Blazers.
The Blazers, and even though they weren't in the bubble last year, I mean, we're talking about talent on the floor. You have the Timberwolves. When are we going to get them together? The Timberwolves have talent.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they are on the bench. First round talent, and on the floor they got top 5 talent. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on over there. Those are my biggest disappointments. I understand Cat Williams right now is sick. I don't know if he's back yet, but come on, be 4-12 this point in the season. Come on, man, that's just something's not right. Something's wrong.
Yeah, I think the problem with the Timberwolves is they don't really have an identity. You know, who are they? And honestly, they really haven't had an identity since they traded KG. You know, they tried to get young. You know, and again, you know, they had Kevin Love, who put up great numbers, but you know, didn't win anything. They get rid of him. They go young with with Anthony Wiggins, and I'll tell you the biggest thing for me, and I think the biggest mistake the Wolves made when Tom Thibodeau became the head coach. He traded Chris Dunn and Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen.
That was horrible.
Chicago for Jimmy Butler.
That was horrible.
I think that completely set that team back because they had a side they could have built around for the future. And when he made that move, and again, that was the worst thing he could have done because they gave him power to the front office, which they should never have done, but whatever. It set them back completely. And I don't know if they're going to really recover from it. And
nope. They certainly didn't.
Quite frankly, I know they want to hold on to Cat, but I think in the next year or so, he's going to be on the block. I just don't.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. And they, already traded away Wiggins. And again, you see what Wiggins is doing in a better environment, which I kept saying to people about Wiggins. I said, Wiggins can play. It's not a good environment. You put him in the right environment around the right people and around the right structure, and he'll flourish, which he's doing in Golden State now. So,
that's true. His confidence is definitely on a different level with Golden State.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have to be that guy.
He doesn't have to be that guy. He doesn't have to worry about I was the number 1 pick of the draft. He can just play. And I swear I will stand on this. When they get Clay back next year, watch Wiggins and watch Wiseman take off even more.
They're gonna be dangerous, man.
Be very dangerous. I don't know who's gonna win the championship this year, but I'm telling you right now, whoever's winning this year better enjoy it. Because when Clay comes back, that Warriors team will be something to deal with.
Truthfully, the Lakers right now kind of have the best chance at repeating. But I will say this, even though I could be putting my foot in my mouth, but I will say it to say it. If the Clippers can get their stuff together, they could be that team in LA.
I know J-Max on mute.
Thank you.
Everybody can see one another.
yeah, yeah. I want J Mac. I want you because you always have an interesting take about why the Clippers. Yeah.
About the Clippers.
Yeah.
Well, for me, you remember at the beginning of the season last year, we were talking, and I said Clippers are not going to do anything. But number one, they don't have a point guard. They don't have a good enough point guard that can control pace of the game. Kawhi is Kawhi. He's not really a vocal leader on the team. And I just think their mindset as a whole is always set on just beating the Lakers when you got everybody else to get there first. And I was disappointed in them last year because they cheated the process. They cheated the process. Too many load management days, too many excuses. This team was just they were just full of excuses last year. They thought they had a on and off switch, and we found real quick that they didn't. They should feel embarrassed. They're talented this year. I think that team is deeper this year's team, but I think by getting replacing Montrezl Harrell with
Ibaka.
having a brave Serge Ibaka was good for them. He's more athletic. He causes more problems under the rim than Montrezl Harrell does. I just don't think mentally those guys are together. Paul George, I think he would be good if he just shut up and play. Paul George is too focused on what's going on outside of basketball. He's too engaged in social media, and he's just not good in front of a microphone. And it can lead. I can see how Paul George arriving there last year, who hasn't won anything, but getting this treatment like he's won 3 or 4 championships already. That's not how I like to judge players. Players that I like. I like to see them ball first, then get the accolades. So he's trying to get a first place ribbon. He hasn't even run a game yet. So I just think the Clippers ceiling again to me is the second round. And if they make it to the finals, depending on who they play, if they play the Lakers, I do believe the Lakers will beat them in the series. But I'm just not a believer in the Clippers because, again, the Clippers is that team that knows how to lose.
Well,
if you could pick a team, no matter what talent they have, the Clippers have showed you with CP3, that big three they had, with DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, that team will underachieve, and that's what they do. So until they stop underachieving, I'm not putting anything in them.
Yeah, Cisco, you want to respond to that?
No, I'm good. I would agree with J Mac.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you the other team, and I think Cisco, you might have brought them up. You were talking about the Kings, and I think there's a big question for me with the Kings. Again, I look at De'Aaron Fox and I look at Bagley, and I think those two guys are probably, long-term foundational pieces. Halliburton is having a really good season, even though he's coming off the bench. I think he's definitely in the Rookie of the Year conversation. But the question for me when I look at the Kings is, one, what do they want to be as a basketball team? And two, is Luke Walton the right coach? Or even more than that, is Luke Walton really a good coach? Because, we praise Luke Walton for how he handled business with the Warriors when Steve Kerr was out, with the back issue and how they started that, that season after winning the championship. But is Luke Walton really the right coach for that Kings team?
Well, he's been there, 4 years now?
This is the second year.
Second year? Wow, I was off on that one. Really? He's only in second year? Well, to say,
Lakers 2
everybody,
years.
so anybody on this panel could have coached that Warriors team during that stretch. That'd have been easy. Just say, hey, look, here's clipboard, go play. That's all it takes. Is he the right coach? I mean, he's been under. He's played for Phil Jackson. He's worked for Steve Kerr. I mean, he has, and his father is a top 50 all-time player. So a top 50 all-time player. So he has the acumen and the knowledge, he has the knowledge. He should have the fundamentals to be able to move and motivate those guys to do something. So maybe you're right. Maybe he just needs to change the scenery. Is he the right coach? But this is right now they've only won 4 games. This is ridiculous. So it's you have to give one more year, I guess, just to see. They weren't in the bubble, but they haven't made much strides. And I think technically, if I were them, I would try to move off Buddy Hield. You have the center, and then you have Fox at the point. I think you kind of stick with those as your core and just build off of that, or rebuild. I don't know what else you need to do.
Yeah, I don't know if Buddy Hield is untradeable, but I just don't see them being able to move off Buddy Hield without taking on a really bad contract. Because as good as Buddy Hield is offensively, he is a sieve defensively. So I'm not sure they can move off of that contract. I think they're kind of stuck with that. Devon, you got any thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree. Luke Walton, he's played with great coaches. I wouldn't consider Steve Kerr either a great coach, but he definitely has done a good job of managing good talent. I just don't think, to me, not every player is meant to be a coach, no matter how much they aspire to be. Not every great player or even good players are meant to be coaches. Maybe the league is just not where he needed to get his coaching debut. Maybe he should have started off at some of the lower levels, like a high school, like Penny did, and let somebody see what you're bringing value to the younger future generational stars, and let's bring you up to the next level to see how you work there, like Penny did, moving from the high school in Memphis to coaching at the university. I think people, you have a certain vision for something and it don't pan out. And I think it's okay to take a step back and be like, you know what, maybe I might not be the best fit. I know he wants to prove himself. I mean, you can tell that, but if you're really not managing that team, like he said, they only won 4 games so far this season. You didn't do much better last year in your first year. And you're already on the road to not having another successful year. Could be worse than last year. Right. It's the same as with what's the coach that Scotty Atkins was coach for the Nets that just got released. Yeah, right. Yeah. So the year prior, the Nets did an amazing job. Then last year, not so much, even with the bubble, and they let him go. Well, and it's not like he.
Yeah, go ahead.
But it's like some you have some coaches or players who they could be decent coaches, but maybe they need to start at a certain level. I think for Luke, he needed to start at a different level, or maybe be an assistant for a little longer, to learn a little more than just, first opportunity. Oh, we know him. Like you said, his pops is a Hall of Famer, and even he wasn't a good coach. Isaiah's a Hall of Famer. He wasn't a good coach. It's like you were, as a player yourself, okay. You weren't great. You were okay. But I just don't think he's a fit for that team, because I don't think he knows how to manage that talent. Like you said, with your core that you have in Marvin Bagley and De'Aaron Fox, you know, you should have a different feel with those guys by now.
Right.
You know, you should be better than what they are right now.
Right.
And you're showing that even with the individual improvement these guys may have made during the offseason, you haven't found a way to incorporate that into a team aspect for the franchise. So I don't think he's a good fit for that team.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too, when you just look at their organization, they had Vlade Divac running the front office for a long time. You know, when he made the DeMarcus Cousins trade, that was just, good God. And it was just, they just had no real direction. I don't think they're pressed to get rid of him immediately, but I do think they do need to figure out, organizationally what their identity is and what they want to be. I think De'Aaron Fox and I think Bagley are two really good pieces to build around long term. But they got to make sure that they are building towards having an identity. And I just don't know if they've really done that yet. As far as the Clippers, again, I think J Mac said it best. They know how to lose. They will find a way to beat the Clippers. I think the worst thing they can do is stay in LA. I just think they're going to always be the second team in LA. They are LA's side chick, and they will never ever be the wife. And they need to recognize immediately that that's just not their future. Any more disappointments for the season y'all want to cover?
I'll just throw in another one. Like I mentioned earlier, I think Portland is another disappointment for me. I think they should be playing way better than what they are as well, because their team hasn't really changed that much over the years either. And I think just two seasons or 3 seasons ago, they were in Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
And then it turned into barely making the playoffs. Like, I think they're another team that if you look at them on paper of who they have on their roster, they look really good. And
Right.
You'd be like I remember last year people were saying like, hey, the Lakers should be a little scared of these guys being the 8th seed. Like, you much rather be playing against Memphis as your 8th seed than playing against Portland. And then Portland turned out to be the complete opposite. Yeah, they had a great first game.
Right.
But then everything after that was like, you have leads and you blow it at the last minute. Like, if you go back and watch that whole series,
right.
And if you really look at it, Portland probably could have won that series.
Right.
But they gave up a lot down the stretch in the moments where they needed it the most. And instead of making some of the decisions that they should have to put them in better position, they just chose to try to shoot their way back into it instead of just play it smart.
So let me get your opinion on this. And J Mac, I also want to hear your take on this. I have a chance to get on other streams, and I'm on a stream with a guy who's a diehard Portland fan, and he swears that they need to break up that CJ and Dame backcourt. Do you feel like it's at that point that they should break up that backcourt?
To be honest, to me, I would say no, because who else are you going to put? Like, for one, where are you going to send CJ? And because CJ's not a bad player. He's definitely improved since he's been in the league a lot.
Right.
And he's another one of those players like Dame who, he went to a kind of nobody Division I school that, Lehigh is not a respected D1 college. Like, I didn't even know, to be honest, I didn't even heard of Lehigh until my little brother told me about them.
Right.
Right. I didn't even know that was a school. So for him to get drafted and then for him to improve the way he did over the years, and, he's been pretty consistent. And he has a decent contract. So you're looking at shopping him to where? And for what are you getting in return to replace that? How many pieces do you think you can get for him that's going to bring that extra value to the team that when Dame is out, you know somebody who can go get a bucket? Who do you have on that team that's consistent like that?
Yeah, and I look at it. I don't think they would trade CJ for a bunch of parts. I think they would try to get another star back in for Dame, or excuse me, for CJ if they were to trade him. And I don't think it's a straight up trade. But I think if they're smart and they do try to trade CJ, I'm trying to bring Bradley Beal to Portland.
I was thinking that too. That's probably like a next best fit.
Right.
Because offensively he can score. Right. He can kind of facilitate a team. You seen him do it when John Wall was out.
Yeah.
And defensively he'll bring some intensity too. He's a little stronger than CJ is. He plays just a little bit more aggressive than CJ does.
Right.
So, that I could see that, but I mean, I don't know that sometimes you have a certain dynamic going for you, and when you switch a player out, it doesn't always mesh the way that you want it to.
Right.
And sometimes it can set you back and take even longer to get to where you were trying to accomplish. So I don't know, that for me is because I've discussed this with people before. To me, that's one of those things that you won't really know until it happens. You can speculate, but you won't necessarily really know until it happens.
Yeah, and I've always said I didn't think they should break them up. I've always considered Dame and CJ to be kind of Isaiah and Joe Dumars 2.0, particularly offensively. With the defensive end is where they don't have that. But J-Mac, I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Not break them up. If you trade CJ for Bradley Beal, you're telling the locker room we're gonna trade a guard for a guard. Who Bradley Beal may be scoring more points, but CJ comfortable in Portland. He is, in my opinion, one of the best shooting guards in the West. He works pretty well with Dame. I think when you start switching out positions, and there's really not a whole lot to gain by getting a Bradley Beal other than CJ. I don't think you let him go. I think you start getting better players in the front court. They have a lot of injuries all the time, every year.
Right.
Injuries.
Right.
But that backcourt, I wouldn't break them up because of fanfare. But they're not going to win anyway. They don't play no defense. Right. And they're another team that just knows how to lose. Dame, as good as Dame is, he's one of my favorite players as well. Him and CJ are shot jackers. That's just the bottom line. So Bradley Beal's a shot jacker. He probably has to because he's playing on the Wizards, and Russell Westbrook can't shoot. But
at all.
Yeah, I don't see why you break it up. Leave it the way it is. You have two good pieces in Dame and CJ as your core. Start building on that.
Right.
Instead of trying to. Who you gonna bring in besides Bradley Beal? And does Bradley Beal even want to play in Portland?
Yeah, he only controls that, so much because he did sign the extension, so he's got some time left on his deal. But Cisco, I want to come to you on this. Do you think, Portland should keep Dame and CJ together, and again, I'll add an addendum to it. Do you think Terry is the right coach, for that team, long term?
So, well, he's been there for a minute, so. As of right now, I have to say yes. The only issue I have right now is, it seems my issue is with the makeup of their team.
Mhm.
They have nobody, like, and I go back to what J-Max said. They have nobody either in the middle or in the front court that scares you as far as defensively. They
Right.
have nothing there.
Right.
When you have two dynamic scorers like that, they seem to be very ball centric. I would like to see them move the ball around, but if they just had better wings as defenders, I think that will improve. Better wings as defenders or 3-and-D guys. Because I know they had Covington,
Right.
but if they had maybe two more Covingtons and maybe a more defensive presence, either at the 5 or the 4. I think that team is top. They're in the fifth. They're in fifth place right now, I believe. But
Right. Yeah.
I think they'll be even better. I think they'll be at the elite level of the Western Conference.
Yeah. So it's interesting. We're gonna see what happens. I mean, obviously they're in the hunt right now in the West. I don't see them breaking it up, but I do think the Wizards are going to be doing a fire sale here real soon. And I think they are going to put Bradley Beal on the block. If Bradley Beal goes on the block, where do you all see the best fit for him? If the Wizards move off of him.
If he wants to win a championship, he'll go to the Lakers. That's it, right?
Yeah, I don't think the Lakers have a package that could even persuade the Wizards to even listen, because they don't really have picks and they're capped out. So I don't know if they really have anything that the Wizards would want to take back long term.
No, Bradley Beal has to go to a team that's in a rebuilding phase, but that still has the potential to be a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many of them out there, but he has to go somewhere like that, like where they have players that, like you said, that they would be able to shop for him without the team really taking that big of a hit with losing those particular players.
Right.
It could be potentially gaining more by adding him to their environment.
Like the Knicks, I think the Knicks would be a good fit for him.
But who are they giving up that you would? If you were the GM for the Wizards and you're shopping Bradley Beal, who are you looking to potentially get off that Knicks roster to that you're willing to give up a Bradley Beal for?
JJ Barrett and your boy Knox in a first-round draft.
See, but that's the thing. They may give up Kevin Knox, but they're not going to give up RJ Barrett because they like RJ Barrett because they see the potential in him. And this is only his second season. You know what I mean? Kevin Knox, he's been there 3 to 4 years already. He haven't had that much improvement. So I can understand you wanting to give somebody like that up. That kind of makes sense.
It doesn't have to be it could be a multiple team trade. All I'm saying that I feel that if you add Bradley Beal to the next lineup, you could possibly move split time with Barrett at the 2 and or 3, and have either Bradley Beal running the 1 and the 2. I think that just adds.
But that makes sense. That does make sense because you have Elfrid Payton who is actually the starting point guard.
Yeah,
you would actually be able to move RJ Barrett to your 3 for his length and his height, and put Bradley Beal at your 2. With Robinson and Randall as your starting 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me throw another scenario out there. I think if you're Bradley Beal, you want to go somewhere where, again, you've got 2 to 3 players who you feel like we got these 2 or 3 guys, we got a chance to win. If I were Bradley Beal, I'd probably be trying to force my way to Miami.
Of course, she's saying Miami.
No, I'm just saying, think about it. Knowing you have Jimmy Butler, knowing you have Bam Adebayo as 2 foundational pieces, and again, they were just in the finals last year. Miami has, Tyler Hero, who would be attractive to, I think, Washington as a young player on a rookie deal. Perhaps even Duncan Robinson, you throw him in that deal. And maybe, Precious Achua, something like that. You're giving up a lot of your young, core talent. And of course, you have to throw in kind of a veteran, player, maybe Iguodala, to make the salaries work. But you put that threesome of Beal, Butler and Adebayo together. You still have Goran Dragic. You still have, Leonard. You still have Olynyk. You still got, again, a team that can definitely compete, in the East. And again, that team got to the finals last year without having a Bradley Beal type. So I think they definitely, could be, thinking about doing that. I think it really obviously just depends. But it wouldn't shock me if he's on the block, by trade deadline, because again, they're not going anywhere fast. So you're on mute.
I don't know, man. I'm not trading Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero.
Well, I think
I give up. If you do that, you have to give up either one, like you said, and then maybe Achua, maybe also Iguodala, or even if you keep Iguodala, you get rid of Leonard, because I mean he's been up and down healthy. I mean he's okay. He's pretty decent when he's healthy, and he's not even really getting the playing time behind Kelly Olynyk and Adebayo. So
yeah, the reason why I say you have to give up both Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero is because Duncan Robinson is an unrestricted free agent after this year. And again, with Hero, he's still got 2.5 years left on his rookie deal. You got to sweeten the pot for Washington if they're going to give up, their best player who's on a very team-friendly deal, who's still very much in his prime. It's kind of that rule, as long as you're not giving up, again, you're not giving up Bam Adebayo, you're not giving up Jimmy Butler, and again, you're not giving up Dragic. I think everybody else pretty much should be, in the conversation for making that deal to happen. And if you get Bradley Beal back, you're getting the best player in the deal. I mean, nobody's disputing that by any stretch. So I think they.
I will.
Go ahead, J-Mac.
I will say this. Didn't mean to cut you off, but I will say this. Pat Riley is the type of guy that he'll pull the trigger if he wants that player.
Oh yeah.
So,
We've seen it.
That's the factor.
Yeah.
Pat Riley don't really care what the fans think, what you think, me think. If he wants that player, if he has a shot to get him, he's definitely going to do what he can to get that player.
Right. And Miami has a max or close to max free agent spot available for this coming off season. So if they don't feel like they're going to be able to fill that spot with, say, someone like a Victor Oladipo, I think them making a move for Bradley Beal before the end of this season would seem to make sense. Because again, their thing is he wants to put together another team that can make a run at it, and they know they're one guy away. That team as constituted is not winning a championship, and I think he's going to probably be willing to do that. So we'll see.
Just to let you guys know, right now, according on my clock, 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Nets and Hawks are tied. James Harden's ball, I think, on Arizona.
Yeah.
And he broke.
Yeah. By the way, the Kings won tonight. They won again. They won tonight. So.
I know the Lakers playing 76. LeBron had 23 in the first half.
Yeah, they're down.
They were losing the last time I checked, though.
Yeah, they're down right now. Yeah.
Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn is up. Oh, hold on. No, he said that. Oh, this. Okay, I see what he's looking at. Because he said it's 10 seconds left. Yeah, they replayed it right now on NBA TV.
Yeah.
So, got to fast forward. Want to talk real quick just about your two early MVP, your early award predictions. I want to get everybody's MVP. Well, you know what? Let's not go MVP first. Who's your coach of the year thus far? We'll start with you, Who you as the coach of the year?
So far, that's that's a hard question because I would say honestly, I would probably look into like a Doc Rivers for what he's accomplishing right now with Philly. You know, they're definitely having a way better start this year than they did last year or the year prior. I would like to throw Tibbs in there for what he's doing with New York. You know, they're having a better start than they have in a long time too. And you can tell the change in the culture of the team right now of how they're playing as well.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say for me, those are probably my two top picks right now.
All right. J Mac, how about you?
I'm gonna say, I like Tibbs, but if I'm keeping it, straight how the season is going this year,
You said who? You said who? Bro, you broke up a little bit.
Utah.
Snyder.
Snyder.
Okay. All right. Cisco.
I just think they need to. I just think you give them their props while they're doing it.
Right. Yeah. Cisco, what about you?
Is the Atlanta Hawks coach? Is this his first year there?
This is his third year.
Third year there? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Depending on how the Hawks end up, he's definitely he's up there. Of course, we're talking about the Jazz. We're talking about Philadelphia. And those are my big three. I kind of wanted to see how the Atlanta Hawks do because I think the Hawks can make some more noise this year.
Right. Yeah. No, I would agree. I think definitely he's in the Lloyd Pierce coach of the Hawks is definitely in the conversation. Certainly, I agree with Devon. I think Doc Rivers for what he's doing, in Philadelphia is definitely in the conversation. I said when they got Doc Rivers, I thought Doc Rivers going to Philly is very similar to Phil Jackson going to LA with Shaq and Kobe. That, sometimes guys get together at the right time with the right coach and they're ready to take that step. And I felt like that's Philly. But for me, it's Quinn Snyder in Utah. Again, what he's doing this year, what that team's doing. I just think he's the favorite for Coach of the Year. Rookie of the Year, J-Mac, coming to you first on that one. Who's your Rookie of the Year thus far?
I don't usually watch rookies a lot, but I do like what I see out of Wiseman. I think he's he's improving. But I like the kid in Sacramento too.
Halliburton.
Yeah. Again, he's another player that I like to hear. I like to see players that aren't really projected to be in those conversations. I don't like for them to get unnoticed. He's pretty hot right now, man. He's hot.
Yeah.
Well, it's a long season though. But I do like Wiseman. I think for Golden State to be to make the playoffs, he's gonna have to play a real key role in them winning.
Yeah, I agree with you. Cisco, coming to you. Who's your Rookie of the Year thus far?
So I think everybody's conceded that Tyrese Halliburton. He's doing real well. From the outside of that, and Wiseman and Ball, I'm keeping my eye on Anthony Edwards from Minnesota and Patrick Williams from Chicago Bulls. People forget that dude. He didn't start a game for Florida State, but right now he's starting every game as a pro. So I'm looking out for him, seeing how he does, and then I'm trying to see what my boy does in Detroit, Saddiq Bey. I like that kid. I like that kid. So those are my guys right there. And then, of course, Cole Anthony, just because I like, listen to his father on NBA 2K21, thinking what his dad has did. But for my top three, right, in no particular order, I'm looking at Anthony Edwards from Minnesota, Patrick Williams from Chicago Bulls, and Sadiq Bey. I think Sadiq Bey. I think he can really, man, he can do some things.
Yeah, Davon, coming to you.
All right, so I do like, Halliburton is like Cisco said, he's one of those underrated guys. Patrick Williams is really good. I'm a Bulls fan, so he's stepping up his game. But I would say definitely at the top of the list right now, definitely is James Wiseman. I wouldn't sleep on Okogie from the Cavaliers either, because he has a lot about his game. He's had a few bad games, but in the start of the season, he was the one rookie that was really like producing.
Right.
Anthony Edwards, I don't know. I have mixed emotions about that kid, man. Like, he hasn't, even a few summer league games or preseason games, he didn't really do a whole lot. But I mean, he definitely, the potential is there. And then LaMelo Ball, I mean, he was always decent, but I never really, I'm not gonna say I never really took him serious, but it was just so much hype that his pops built around those guys that, I respect him for making it, but I think he's only had 1 to 2 games so far that really showed good potential. The game he had his triple-double, and then I think the game before or after where he had like 20-something points, like he had a real good game, but I think he's still young-minded, and his game is good, but it's still a little immature, and it needs more improvement. Because I would like to put him at my top, but I would say for me, my tops would be, of course, James Wiseman, Patrick Williams, and probably Halliburton.
Yeah, so I mean, most of the names you guys mentioned, I'm in agreement with. I think Halliburton right now is probably the number one rookie. I just think of all the rookies, he's been probably the most consistent, even coming off the bench. Sacramento, I don't know if they'll win enough for him to really get consideration. I like Wiseman. I think Wiseman and Cisco, I think I told you this months before the draft that if Golden State got Wiseman, write it down, chalk it up. Championships are coming back. Because I think what he does defensively, especially for them, is in his ability to, step out and switch, on the perimeter defensively. It just makes them a nightmare. Certainly up and down offensive games because they don't run through him, but he's shown some flashes. So yeah, I think it's kind of between those two guys for me. But the guy I'm looking for to make a run is Cole Anthony in Orlando. Once Markelle Fultz, went out for the season, they basically kind of elevated Anthony into that, that starting point guard spot. And so I think he's got a chance from a numbers perspective, but also just from, people seeing more of him. I think he's got a chance to be in that conversation as well. Cisco, I like your Sadiq Bey pick. I just think Detroit is so bad outside of Jeremy Grant that he won't really get any love.
Well, let me. Just to caveat on Wiseman. Wiseman did get benched.
Well, I mean, they pulled him out of the lineup, the starting five. I didn't necessarily agree with that move by Steve Kerr, because again, I think he, again showed some flashes. I think the bigger issue when I look at their starting five is I don't think Kelly Oubre should be starting. Actually, I think
he shouldn't be starting at all.
Be coming off the bench. They should be starting Damian Lee, actually, and then let Oubre come in and cook with the second unit. But hey, Kerr is the coach. We'll see what happens. But I just think I think Oubre should be coming off the bench. That's just my. I just think he'd be so much better for them off the bench.
Can we bring up after this? Can we go ahead and see most improved player?
Yeah, want to talk most improved player? Yeah, we absolutely talk most improved player. Most improved player thus far.
For me, Michael Porter Jr. I am really impressed with this. This is the talent we saw, but he is. But I think he's averaging 18 points a game. for shooting. I want to say shooting above 42% or 40% from 3-point.
Right.
I mean, this kid is out of control with stuff. So that's who I'm looking at as far as most improved player. I don't know if he can do that, but I think the leap he's going to take, he's going to come into that role. And then of course Jeremy Grant from Detroit, he's going to get his really get his shine on. So those are my two guys right there in Denver, really, or former Denver player.
Yeah. Devon, who you got?
So I definitely agree with the Jeremy Grant. You know, him stepping away from Denver, getting a even bigger role with Detroit. And even though they're not really doing nothing, he's making noise. But I want to throw Julius Randle in that pot, though, because I think from last year to what he's accomplishing right now, his numbers are definitely higher. So yeah, I would say for me, those would probably come well, and then I would say I want to throw De'Aaron Fox in there because he is having even though his team is not doing nothing, he is having a so far a good season production wise compared to how he was last year. But I say overall, yeah, Jeremy Grant and Julius Randle will be my two right now.
J-Mac, what about you? Most improved player?
What's the question?
You said what?
What's the question?
I'm sorry, who you got for most improved player thus far?
Julius Randle.
Who was around?
Yeah, Julius Randle. He has developed into a above average NBA player.
Right.
And you can tell he's worked on his game.
Right.
It's gonna be a shame too because I really believe New York is not gonna keep him.
Well, they don't need to.
I was about to ask that too. Do you put him in the trade block?
Featured. Well, I think he's the only person he's not the only one. He's the most attractive player on that team that you can actually get rid of.
Well, to answer your question, Cisco, he's got an expiring contract after next season, so I expect that he'll be on the block at least in the off season, just because he's an expiring deal, and if they can get an asset for him, again, a future first round pick,
or Bradley Beal.
Well, again, I don't know if you look at how the Wizards have built their team, they've got a young 3 and a young 4 and Adria and Hachimura they want to build around. So I don't know if Randle would be a good fit for them, long term. And again, I think a team that's looking at themselves as like a contender that can take on Julius Randle's deal. I would look for a team like Denver, in all honesty, in the offseason, because they're probably going to lose Millsap because he's probably going to retire, and Bol's not ready yet to step into that 4 position. So I think they'd be a team to be really looking out for on Julius Randle in the offseason.
That's true.
But yeah, so my most improved player, I got 2 guys that come to mind immediately: Christian Wood in Houston. I think Christian Wood is definitely in that conversation. I just think he's having a monster season thus far.
Yeah, he is.
He's balling.
Yeah, he's balling. And then, I'm gonna give you 2 more actually. Colin Sexton. Cleveland. I think Sexton has really, come on, and obviously, kind of living up to, his draft billing thus far this season. And then kind of the sleeper guy nobody's really talking about in San Antonio is Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson's having a real good season in San Antonio. And again, he kind of came out of nowhere. So those are kind of my 3 guys. But right now, I think Christian Wood is my front runner.
Hey, real quick, Sean. This guy's not my most improved player, but I think we should give some kudos to Marcus Cousins, man. Marcus Cousins, after battling all those injuries, he looks like he's getting into a rhythm now. And that's good to see.
Well,
that's true. That's very true.
I agree with you. And to be honest with you, if it weren't for Kevin Durant, I think Cousins and John Wall would both be getting comeback player of the year this year. Just given both of them, been fighting injuries the last couple of years, and they both of them actually kind of look back like they're getting back to their old selves. So I agree with you on that, J-Man. We got to give him some love as well. Now on to your MVP prediction. So, J-Mac, I'll come to you on that first. Who's your MVP? Or what are your MVP predictions?
Right now, I'm gonna have to say LBJ and Joel Embiid. Those guys are playing some hell of basketball, man. LeBron, and I'm not even, everybody, talks about the 36 being 36 years old, but for me, it's like it's not just about his age. It's about how he continuously adjusts his game. He really adjusts the game to the times in the NBA. And this year, with AD not playing up to par right now, AD, he's coming along slowly. Brian's carrying load like he usually does. And I just think that, he's shooting almost 50% from the field. He shoots 41.2, I believe, from three. Even though Kawhi's shooting better, Kawhi has better numbers. LeBron has more wins, and he's been more impactful.
That's true. I definitely agree with that.
Joel Embiid, but Joel Embiid, he has had, to me, the highest impact of the season on his team.
Man, a healthy Joel Embiid is pretty scary.
Monster.
So like when he's healthy, he lives up to the hype of who you knew he could be. It's only when he's injured or partially injured that you kind of get like the watered down version. Like you don't know if he's going to have a good game or whatnot. But when he's 100% healthy, you know he's going to be a force, period.
Yeah, I agree with that. Devon, coming to you next. Your MVP.
So I would say the same as J-Mac. I would say Joel Embiid right now and LeBron. Mm-hmm. I would probably throw Kawhi in there as like a top three. But definitely those two guys are playing outstanding basketball night in and night out, no matter the competition.
And LeBron hasn't missed a game this year.
Nope.
No. Cisco.
Yeah. So my two front runners are LeBron James, and I say my three front runners are LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Joel Embiid. But for my dark horse, man, if you guys seen this kid named Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, he is balling out of control right now. He is balling out of control. To me, as of right now, he's way too early front runner. And then finally, man, they got to start showing Joker some love, bro. They have got to start showing Joker some love. This guy is just consistently. I swear to God, if Giannis gets another MVP fucking vote, it's going to be. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. Now I called it early in his career. Okay, bro, you got back to back, but bro, you haven't done anything to help get your team over that hump. Haven't done anything. We can blame who we want to blame, but I like Joker, Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown will probably tip off a little bit, but if he's able to maintain this and he'll take his team deep and probably get it, because they're top three right now, right? I believe they're in the top 3 or 4 teams in the East.
In the East,
Boston. Yeah, they're top 3. Number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah,
if they able to do that, steal some games from Philadelphia. Man. I just don't think Boston can handle a healthy Joel Embiid. That's just too much for them.
they don't have a solid big man. Tice is good, but Tyson's not enough to match up with a Joel Embiid.
And Tristan Thompson's under the Kardashian curse, so that ain't happening.
Yeah, he's done for. I mean, I'm surprised. It's true though, but I'm surprised he's still in the league because every sports person that's messed with a Kardashian has been done. I mean, look at Reggie Bush. Now, I will say this for Reggie Bush: after leaving Kim, he did go and win a championship with New Orleans.
And he got 1,000 yards in Miami. I
was gonna say he had a pretty decent seasons, but then after that, done for. Lamar Odom, he was already kind of iffy, but once he officially got with Chloe, it was a wrap.
Turned to a crackhead.
It was a wrap.
Yeah,
it was a wrap. So so it's like there's a curse that lies in there that nobody needs.
I tell people all the time, everybody's seen the movie Get Out. Kardashian Kitty is the real sunken place.
Yeah, it is.
Once you go there, you won't ever get out. That's it.
It's over.
It's
over for you.
He got nobody.
No, that was a weekend thing. That wasn't even no real thing. I'm talking about you go there long term. That's it. You're done.
No, those are just y'all. I just happened to be in LA at the time. We can hang out,
right?
And then I'm rolling out. I'm not trying to set up shop here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Definitely dangerous though. That's true.
Yeah.
That's like swimming with the sharks.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you, the Kardashians is the real life version of the Star Wars. We got Luke, you got Luke Skywalker, you got Darth Vader, you got all that shit going on, bro. Yeah. It is the dark side. You won't come out.
The Sith Lords.
No.
So Chris is like Palpatine out there.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah, but I agree with most of y'all's MVPs. Right now, if I had to pick a top three, I would say definitely Embiid and Joker are definitely in my top two. I mean, Joker 5'12" and 9. Those are amazing numbers for a big man. Obviously, Embiid. With him, I think Embiid's got to play at least 55 to 60 games to really be a viable MVP candidate, and I think he will, provided he's healthy. And then, I'm going to give you kind of a sleeper, and again, I think it's just because their team is playing so well. And I'm not putting Bron in the conversation because I think the MVP, if you look at the last several years, has really become a young players award. No disrespect to LeBron. He's got 4 of them. And I think, they always like to kind of pump up the next guy. But if Utah continues on this pace, I think Donovan Mitchell is definitely going to be in that conversation. Because again, they like to give it to the best player on the best team. So, but yeah, I would not discount him as well.
I don't mind. I wouldn't mind if he got it.
Come on.
Give respect to where respect is due.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like I said, I like the way LeBron is playing.
I
love the way Joel Embiid is playing.
He's putting in work on LA right now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I like the way
So it's about you said who?
I like the way Kawhi is playing before he had to sit out. I love the way KD is playing.
Yeah.
I mean, KD, we don't talk about KD enough, but we're gonna start talking about him because I think, if he doesn't get hurt, man, he's gonna have a all-time season for him.
It's crazy. Why I don't put KD in the conversation is because once they got James, I think that's gonna split or take away some votes from KD. Because everybody's gonna say, well, they're supposed to do that because they got James and KD and other boy, crazy boy.
Oh, Kyrie.
Yeah, crazy boy. So yeah, I just think that's gonna hurt KD's MVP chances, just because of how that team is built now, unfortunately. So Yeah, but it's going to be interesting. Obviously, this is not going to be the last time we had this conversation. I'm sure, we still, only about a month and a week into the season, so we'll see what's going.
Mm-hmm.
But let's pivot a little bit about another news. It's been a little bit of a slow news cycle, but a couple interesting retirements in the NFL. Jason Witten hung him up after 17 seasons, and Greg Olsen also hung him up after a long career. So, question for the panel: are either, both, or one of those guys going in the Hall of Fame?
Hold on, who'd you say again? Jason Witten and who else?
Greg Olsen.
No, I don't think so. Maybe Jason Witten, but they're definitely not first ballot Hall of Famers.
I was gonna say, yeah, I could see Jason Witten at some point getting in there, but yeah, not immediately.
I mean, MC.
I think Jason Witten will get in eventually. Greg Olsen, he's been pretty consistent in his career as well. He's definitely in the Charlotte's Hall of Fame. But
he's in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he'll get some plaques on their wall, but I don't think his numbers are good enough to get in the NFL. NFL is kind of hard to get in, man. It's harder than the NBA. But they were two solid tight ends. Jason Witten was solid, even though I don't like the Cowboys. He was solid.
Who does?
Yeah, he was solid. I think he should have hung him up a few years ago. That's just me. Taking up somebody else's roster spot. These guys coming up work hard to try to get a spot in this old month. I'm just saying, man.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Only three guys have more career receptions than Jason Witten, and that's Jerry Rice, Larry Fitzgerald, and Tony Gonzalez. So I think that pretty much guarantees that he'll be getting in the Hall of Fame, and he probably will go in first ballot.
First ballot?
Yeah, I think he'll get in first ballot. If you just look at the guys who retired this year, with him, Phillip Rivers, Greg Olsen, obviously we expect Drew Brees to retire this year. I think he and Drew Brees will definitely go in first ballot. Just looking at their year so far. And again, he's number 4 all time in receptions, number 2 all time for tight ends. He's got 1,200 plus catches. So I think that pretty much, you get over 1,000 catches, that pretty much guarantees you that you'll get in at some point. And again, he played for the right team. All Cowboys go in the Hall of Fame. That's part of the problem, But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Also, yesterday's news, we haven't talked about it, but nobody got elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame, which I found amazing that they can do that. But, and again, we don't really talk baseball, but is it time that baseball looks at the voting process if you got no guys with all of these accolades going in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, it's like you should always put somebody in there.
Right.
There's people who played their hearts out in the MLB for years. They might not have been recognized as like some of the greatest of their time, but they definitely was in that top tier that's retired, that hasn't got any looks, that are definitely probably well deserving of getting looked at. So yeah, I think that's kind of crazy to elect individuals to be voted on and no one gets voted.
Right.
I think that's crazy, because at that point it's like, why even elect them if you already have a preconceived notion that you're not going to vote for them to get in there.
Yeah, and the closest this year was Curt Schilling. he got about 71% of the vote, and they need 75% at least to get in. So,
76.
Okay,
I thought it was 76. My bad.
Oh, you're fine. So, and he didn't get in, and I'm not a big Kurt Schilling fan, so screw him. But in y'all mind, if you could think of one guy just right off who should definitely be in the Hall of Fame that's not in the Hall of Fame, who comes to mind for you?
Well, I'm not a big baseball fan, so I couldn't even really tell you the players that is in there because I'd probably name some names and they're probably already in there.
Yeah. Well, you could probably name some names that should be in there that's not. You too, So,
but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I can't even say because I don't know a whole lot of baseball people except some of the top players that's played for the Yankees. But I'm pretty sure all of them are already in the Hall of Fame.
Most of them.
It's kind of like the Cowboys. If you're a Yankee, you're going to get in the Hall of Fame.
Like an A-Rod is probably in there already. See, that's a person. He had a great career with Texas prior to going to the Yankees. Like he was already a name before going to the Yankees and winning the championship with Jeter. So it's surprising that he's not in there yet.
Jeter went in last year, but but no, A-Rod's going to struggle to get in because of the steroids.
See, that happens too. You tarnish yourself in those manners, man.
Yeah.
For me, I'm Atlanta Braves bias, and one of my favorite all-time Atlanta Braves.
Crime Dog.
You already know where I'm going.
Crime Dog.
No, he
Really?
should have been in to me. But Crime Dog wasn't my favorite. He was one of my favorites. I mean, he was. I liked him, but my favorite all-time Atlanta Brave. Minus Aaron is Dale Murphy.
Dale Murphy's not in the Hall of Fame?
No, Dale Murphy's not in the Hall. And he should be. Hey, did y'all see the Lakers coming back?
Are they?
They up one. They up one with 11 seconds left.
Well, if they pull this game out, then that just notched a belt or a point under LeBron.
He got 30. LeBron got 34.
So for people who should probably be in there who hasn't, Jeff Bagwell from Houston, Rafael Palmeiro. And
Lakers lost by one.
Actually, Bagwell got in the Hall of Fame 3 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see. There you go. I apologize.
No, you're fine. That's what we're here for.
Golden State and Minnesota playing right now.
Yeah. So just real quick before we move on from this topic, any guys who are tied to or been linked to the steroids scandal you feel like should still be in the Hall of Fame?
I think A-Rod should still be in the Hall of Fame. Who else did we have? Mark McGwire was one of them, right?
Yeah.
What about
And what?
How?
Rafael Palmeiro. Did he ever make it in?
Rafael Palmeiro? No, he's linked to steroids.
I don't care about none of them guys unless Barry Bonds get in. I don't care.
I was gonna say Barry Bonds is another one too, right? And he
if you don't get in, then I don't think none of them should. In my humble opinion.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. And again, I tell you all the time, Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer in Pittsburgh and before he was even linked to steroids. So also, I'm gonna give you a name that's not in the Hall of Fame. The only reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame because he was a jerk, and that's Albert Bell.
I was about to say Albert Bell too.
Yeah. I'd ask him in the Hall of Fame because he was a jerk.
That's a good shot, Tobias.
It was. It was a good shot.
Yeah. Philly pulls it out by 1. Big win for them.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers.
Oh, you know who I meant to mention
Who's that?
as far as rookies is Maxey
from
for Philly.
Yeah.
That kid is balling right now too.
Yeah. I thought he was a steal of the draft, and everybody kept saying he fell because he couldn't shoot.
He just had like almost 40 the other day.
Yeah. And he's a hooper.
Yeah.
So, any other news we need to talk about? Anything else in the news?
No, let's do it. Let's top 5 it.
All right. Well, you know what time it is. It's top 5 time. Anybody got a top 5? Anybody?
Either way, I'm gonna win it, so don't worry about
it. Top 5.
All right. I got one. If y'all game.
Let's go for it.
All right. We want your top 5 go-to comedy movies when you need a laugh.
Okay. I got a few of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got a few of those.
I can start if you want.
Go ahead. Yeah, you got it.
Pretty easy for me. CB4.
Damn, you stole me.
Harlem Nights.
Classic.
I guess it ain't that easy for me. Right? I watch that all the time. Half Baked is always funny for me.
Right.
And Cat Williams, Pimp Chronicles.
That's a stand-up. I'm talking about a movie, actual movie.
Shit, I watched it like an actual movie.
Well, you can say about anything.
Okay, I'll take them off. Let's see, number 5. I can't say Martin.
That's not a movie. They didn't make a Martin movie.
I watched it like it was a movie.
Yeah, they ain't even made a Martin Luther King movie.
Let's see. I know I'm missing something. Norbit.
Dang, you got my list already.
I'm trying to figure out. Okay.
All right. So I got my 5. So I was gonna say Norbit, CB4, Coming to America, White Chicks, and Get Hard.
You actually like Get Hard?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Will Ferrell's a fool, man.
Oh yeah, Blue Street is good too.
Will Ferrell's a fool to me, man. I like that joke.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Will Ferrell. I mean, that's just real. You can't go wrong with Will Ferrell.
Hey, Gino in the comments said, I said Blue Streak, and I forgot
Black
about
Dynamite.
that movie.
Black Dynamite is one of my
Dynamite.
Black Dynamite is one of my 5. That's one of my 5. Yeah. Black Dynamite is an absolute classic. Every time I watch it, I find something I love. But
he put in there who made the potato salad too.
Yeah, that's a silly movie. I've only watched it once. That's a silly movie.
Oh man, y'all need to y'all go ahead, man.
Go ahead, Cisco.
For me, Tropic Thunder, Life, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Hangover, and Talladega Nights.
Hey, Black History, you got to click the link, man. You got to come in here and talk some of these
Come
movies.
on in, man.
Come on in and click that link. Stop and talk some of these movies.
That's a good pick, man. Talladega Nights, man. I want to pray to baby Jesus.
Yeah.
Man, y'all said some good ones then, bro.
That's right. You know what? I wake up in the morning, I just piss great. That's all. I wake up in the morning, I piss great.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
I might look for Black Dynamite on the Fire Stick tonight. I don't know.
Yeah. My 5 Friday. Friday, Coming to America, Tropic Thunder, Black Dynamite, and Anchorman.
Oh man.
That's a good one too.
Anchorman. I laugh at Anchorman every single time. It's just, it's just classic. It's a bunch of others, of course, you can go to, but yeah, those my 5. When I'm feeling kind of down, I'm like, yep, I gotta watch one of these movies.
And just in case somebody says I didn't have enough black movies in my stuff, I view really Coming to America as one of my all-time great movies. I just want to put that out there just in case they were like, oh, this motherfucker ain't say one, but one black movie. I'm just, as far as it being, it's an all-time great movie. And then Friday, of course, it's an all-time great movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's a fact.
Will Ferrell has had a bunch of classics that
Step Brothers. I can watch Step Brothers. I can watch Step Brothers like
the other guys.
I'll tell you somebody else. Happy Gilmore.
I can't.
Adam Sandler.
Sandler. He's had some outstanding, funny ass movies.
Yeah, for me, his is Waterboy. I still laugh at Waterboy.
Waterboy.
Yeah,
Waterboy is a classic.
Yeah. Man. Anybody?
Some classic lines, man.
Yeah. Anybody got any Jim Carrey movies they go to when they want to laugh?
No, I don't go to them.
Yeah.
But
Fun with Dick and Jane is pretty funny.
Yeah.
The
first
Ace Ventura is definitely classic.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
But all the movies we named so far, I'm not gonna go looking for that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this though, I did like Anchorman a whole lot. That's in my top 10.
Yeah.
And I'm scratching some of my top 5 out because I gotta put Black Dynamite in there.
Yeah.
Black Dynamite was fun shit, man.
Yeah,
everybody had to be high when they was in the cafe.
Oh yeah, when they broke down the plan.
They broke down the whole plan when Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles was birthed.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that had to be one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen, man.
Man, I'm telling you. And when they was over in Korea and he talking about the dude, he threw the things. I threw that shit before I walked in the room.
Actually, have y'all ever seen the Black Klansman?
Oh yeah.
That shit was good too.
Yeah.
That shit was good too. But that second Coming to America comes out in March
5th
on Amazon.
March 5th. I'm ready.
March
5th on Amazon Prime.
Oh hell yeah! I ain't got to pay for it. Yeah, I'm definitely watching that.
No.
Hell yeah!
It's coming.
I'm definitely watching that.
Yeah.
It's been too long, man. It's been too long.
Yeah.
I hope they get it right, man. But not a comedy. But has anybody went on HBO Max and saw the American Skin yet?
Is that's the one with the
Spike Lee joint
with Nate Parker?
Yeah.
Did I see that? No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was HBO Max yet. I didn't see it.
It just came out. And the reviews seem pretty good, man. There's a lot of controversy in that movie.
Yeah.
So when I get a chance, I'm definitely.
What's it about?
It's a
racism.
What's going on today?
Yeah, please watch the YouTube or watch the trailer, bro. Trust me.
Right.
I wouldn't want to spoil that for you just by telling you, man.
Right.
Okay.
I'm telling you, man. Just watch the trailer, bro. I promise you, I wouldn't even want to spoil that for you. Because when I saw it, I was just like, I had one word. Shit.
I'm gonna have to check. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I'll tell you something else that was funny, man. Eddie Murphy when he did the remake of Dolomite.
Dolomite is my name.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
Dolomite, all Dolomite stuff is good.
yeah,
Yeah, I seen the remake.
yeah.
You
I'm
seen
gonna give
the
you a
remake?
classic go-to that I watch. Which Way Is Up? Richard Pryor. That's a funny movie, man. That dude is crazy.
I don't know. To me, I think my number one all-time favorite movie that I could watch at any given moment is The Last Dragon. I don't know why, but
break it down, bro.
Huh?
'Cause not everybody knows what that is. Yeah, break it down. Break it down.
well,
Bruce Leroy?
Bruce Leroy.
Show enough? Y'all don't what? How you don't know that? That's my favorite movie of all time.
Man, I think that's the first time I ever seen somebody catch a bullet with his teeth.
yeah,
Hey, definitely.
In the goal, and it was still shining.
yeah,
Teeth still shining.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, American Skin, I'm gonna have to check that out, man. I'm gonna look that up tonight.
yeah. I tell you, I haven't watched it yet because I got to be in the mood to watch that kind of stuff because I know it's probably gonna tick me off. But
Yeah, if it's worse than the movie with the dude from Get Out,
Queen and Slim.
Queen and Slim.
yeah, it
Queen
probably
and
is. It probably is.
That was a good movie.
Queen and Slim.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good movie too.
Yeah,
yeah,
they only get one out of me.
yeah. No, I got to set. I have to be like in the mindset. Okay, I'm gonna sit down and watch this because that kind of stuff just it makes me angry. I tell you all the time, any movie made about black people in the United States before 1968 is probably gonna piss me off. So I gotta really be in the mood to watch it.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Has there been any movies or series after that they hadn't made a season 2 or they hadn't made a season 2 or they cut off abruptly that you wish they would make another season? I got one for you. I just thought about it.
What's that?
The Watchmen with Regina King.
That was good. That was good as hell.
Yeah.
That was good as hell. I don't know. I mean, as far as those type of movies, like I know they only had I like the Punisher that was on Netflix. I thought that was pretty decent. So I'm hoping they make a season 3 to that. I thought that was really good.
The Watchmen, the fact that they haven't came out with a season 2 yet, it's probably because of the pandemic, but I was looking forward to a season 2 of that.
They actually
did. That was going somewhere.
It was.
Yeah.
You know,
No, they actually canceled it.
that was excellent. Oh, they did. They did cancel it.
Yeah, they canceled it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually going somewhere. That's disappointing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it was getting the ratings they were expecting.
I'm surprised y'all
Which one
didn't
was
say
that? Which one was that?
surprised y'all didn't say
I
Star.
don't think it was getting the ratings they were expecting.
Star in another season of the Empire.
Oh God.
No,
That was
God.
horrible. They should have stopped that after season 3.
Fact.
It got worse and worse and worse.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you when I stopped watching Empire, when they had Chris Rock playing a gangster, I was like, I said, no, I'm good.
I do you one better.
Yeah.
When they had my man in some dreadlocks. Lucius with some dreadlocks.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm good. And then for me, the show got away from what it was really about.
Yeah.
You know, which was really it was about, you know, the music, and they got away from that to me.
Look at this guy.
What are you about to do, man?
He about to-
Man, here you go, man.
Hey, can I get music?
Oh man.
A rock and roll star on the rise.
I know what it's like to lose.
That intro, that voice.
A madman.
There he is.
freshest villain of all times.
And the Chucks too.
No.
And the glamour, the power,
Unbelievable.
sound of Midtown.
I don't want you to kill it.
Midtown Manhattan.
Leroy Green, I'm looking for.
I don't know if y'all can't hear it, can y'all?
Yeah,
I don't need to hear it.
Nah, I can hear it.
With the shoulder pads on. I don't need to hear it.
This
They sure enough was about that life, though.
last
They got the bar, bro.
That's crazy.
And the graphics was outstanding,
It's
bro.
about the power of the glow.
Here it comes.
Power to grow.
Who's the master?
Vanity.
I am.
Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. Directed by Michael
Unbelievable,
Schultz of
man.
Motown Productions.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
I had to, man. Because they don't know, man. They don't know what that is, bro. If this gets that young generation, The Last Dragon.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Shout out.
Now everything was
Last
MCU.
Dragon.
Yeah, now everything was a Marvel movie as far as standards when it comes to CGI.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah, that was classic. That was classic. Man,
Hell yeah, man.
yeah.
That's my stuff right there.
I had to show. They had to show.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
We don't own the right to see any of that, so I just want to make sure everybody, that was from.
yeah. Shout out to Meek. God.
Hey, what's the name of that movie? With that was CB4 with the big ass biscuit, right?
No, I'm gonna get you, sucker.
That's gonna get you sucker.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna get you, sucker.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a classic too.
Yeah, I swear.
That's one of the only movies I've seen Keenan ever star in, really, besides Low Down Dirty Shame.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he wasn't. I mean, he got other roles, but
Because he's more in the background, like a cameo type dude.
right. Yeah,
But that was like a starring role for him.
yeah.
The
Like
bad joint.
he tried to do. It was a serious movie. It's called Most Wanted, where he was like a wanted, like Marine sniper or something like that. It was.
Oh, you know what? I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Hey, I got a couple of honorable mentions for the comedy, man.
Mhm.
It's a thin line between love and hate.
You consider that a comedy?
Yeah, that shit was funny as hell all the way through. You know that movie was funny, man.
No, man.
You didn't think it was funny?
I mean, I thought it had funny moments, but like all the way through, I didn't think it was funny.
That shit was funny, man. The Chicken King.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it had funny moments.
Yeah, man.
But
And another honorable mention is what's love got to do with it?
you think that's a comedy?
Yeah, that shit was funny as hell all the way through.
Well, I got an honorable mention too. Every Tyler Perry drama. movie.
Oh, you gonna get some backlash for talking about Tyler Perry.
You know, I can tell a whole lot of things. Thankfully, you know, we don't have a huge audience tonight, so I can say some things.
What's this? American Skin?
Yeah, Trevor.
Remember me?
Can you guys hear it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear
How you
it.
doing tonight?
Doing well, officer.
Can I see your driver's license, registration, and insurance, please?
Of course, sir. My license is right here, my wallet. That's all right, son. You remember that night in July?
Hands up! Hey! Wait! Put the phone down! Put that phone! Sir, it's a phone! It's a cell phone! It's just a cell phone!
You knew he was unarmed.
Push the car and put your hands in the air! Officer, please, he's just a kid!
You pointed your gun at him.
Okay, get out of the car, son. Easy.
You pulled the trigger.
Put the phone away! Put the phone away!
The grand jury determined that no probable cause exists to file any charges against Officer Randall.
This is my son. This is my little boy. You took that from me. The world took that from me. Today we make that right. Hear me when I say this, because I'm only going to say it once. Don't stop filming.
Just give up now. Why are we the only people in this country that are expected to do things without violence? I didn't mean to kill your son. What you did. I did what I was trying to do. I just want justice. That's all I want.
This is your jury, the deciders of your fate. Today, you will be tried for the murder of my son. You scared? Are you afraid?
Yeah, I got to check that out.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely got to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, that's
That's
gonna be
it's gonna be tight, man.
that's gonna be deep, man.
Yeah. Can't do that.
Oh, Lord.
And I think the American, not American, but Denzel Washington movie is coming out too.
Little things. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah. And you know what I'm looking forward to is the Nobody. Nobody, this trailer with the guy who plays Better Call Saul. Have you guys seen that one?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I thought it's one of the producers for John Wick actually is I think directing the movie as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all good.
yeah. So, yeah. So good stuff to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Good stuff to look forward to. Obviously, yeah. Let's do it.
Thanks for Devon for coming on again. Me and him have gotten into arguments. I shouldn't say arguments, but we've gotten into debates, very spirited debates, to where our supervisors have built to lead the complex.
Yeah, I mean, I love sports, but basketball is my all-time favorite, man. Like,
yeah,
any level, any gender, we can discuss it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about it?
Yeah. Before we close out, Cisco, check the private chat real quick. We gotta close out on a high note. If you don't mind. Yeah, gotta definitely go out on a high note tonight. So for those who are watching, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, click, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications because, again, every time we go live on U3 Sports, we want you with us. So please don't forget to like, click, and subscribe.
You must eat.
Oh, it is.
Before I'm born, my son. Now, you will be king. But the throne must pass to a male heir. Hakim, it appears you have a son. He must be found.
Prepare the royal jet. We are going back to America. Oh, hell no, Your Majesty.
Oh, yeah.
My man James Earl Jones is like 90 years old, bro.
He just turned 90.
Yeah.
Lost the sound.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd have heard the trailer many times already.
That's fine. Yeah.
Hey, oh, that's too much. Now you stepped over the line. Now we won't be talking that kind of shit about the hungry babies. You're going to have to get out of my chair.
Politically incorrect.
What you doing, Hotel Rwanda?
Shit is stupid.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man.
Yeah, look forward to it. March 5th. Looking forward to it. Matter of fact, we probably will not be live streaming on Friday, March 5th. Just so we can all enjoy that and talk about it probably the next time we get on. But hey, listen, as always, gentlemen, it's been fun.
Oh yeah.
You know, and again, I want to thank everyone who got a chance to join for joining us. And again, you know, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, click, and subscribe. And follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram at U3 Sports Talk. So until next time, we'll see you.
Peace. Salute.
All right. Salute.
Peace. Salute, y'all.
All right.